Good day, fellow learning leaders, and welcome to our Learning Delivery Modalities course for teachers. This course will give you first the orientation. For our Module 1, let's talk about the LDM2 for teachers. Ano nga ba ang mga layunin ng LDM2 na ito? By the end of this module, you will be able to describe what this course is about and how it will help you manage the teaching-learning process in the modalities. Ito ay nangangahulugan lamang na ang module na ito ay makakatulong sa atin upang malaman natin kung papaano natin padadaluyin ang pagtuturo at ang pagkatuto ng mga mag-aaral sa iba't ibang pamamaraan ng pagtuturo at pag-aaral ngayong panahon ng new normal. The module content. Ang unang nating lesson ay ang course overview. Ang pangalawang lesson ay ang pagbuo ng learning action cell. Gaano ba katagal ang ating gagawin para sa module na ito? Ito ay tatagal lamang sa loob ng 4 na oras kasama na ang pagsasagot ng ilang mga gawaing nakalaan para sa module na ito. First lesson is course overview. Start na tayo. This overview will cover the why, what, and how of this course. It will walk you through the coverage of the course as it relates to the teaching-learning process in the LDMs adopted by your school. Nangangahulugan lamang ito na ang lesong ito ay magbibigay sa atin ng kung ano ang mangyayari, bakit, ano at papaano gagawin ang kursong ito. Ito rin ay magpapakita sa atin kung papaano natin padadaluyin ang pagtuturo at ang pagkatuto sa LDM na pinili ng ating paaralan. At alam nating lahat na sa Santissimo Rosario Elementary School, ang ginamit natin ay ang modular delivery mode. Sa katapusan ng lesson na ito, malalaman natin kung ano ang kurso at ano ang planong dapat gawin para sa kursong ito. Lesson 1 Course Overview. Narito ang mga pag-uusapan natin. Ang LCP Capacity Building Framework, ang Course Rationale and Objectives, ang Course Design, Content and Delivery, Self-Learning Modules or ang SLMs, at ang Learning Action Cell. Ang mga kinakailangan nating kagamitan para sa course overview as our lesson 1 ay ang LDM course overview, ang ating study notebook, at ang study notebook guide na lahat ay nakalagay na sa ating Google Classroom. Para sa ating activity 1, read the LDM course overview. Reflect on the overview by answering the following questions. Write down your insights in your study notebook. First question, what is the main delivery of this course? Ibig sabihin lamang, papaano ba padadaluyin ang kursong ito ng LDM2? Number 2, how can this course help ensure that you will be able to deliver quality instruction in the new normal? Nangangahulugan lamang ito na kung papaano ba makakatulong ang kursong ito upang tayo ay makapagturo pa rin sa ating mga mag-aaral sa new normal. Pangatlo, what are the 2 support mechanisms that will help you with your learning in this course? Ano ang dalawang mekanismo na makakatulong sa iyo upang ikaw ay matuto sa kursong ito? Pag-usapan. Now let's talk about the course overview. When the first COVID-19 case was recorded in March this year, the country was placed under the state of national emergency. COVID-19 ushered in a new normal in the way people conduct business and deal with each other. To prevent the further spread of infection among the populace, various measures were put in place such as ban on mass gatherings, restrictions on movement, social distancing, and preventive practices like hand washing and wearing of masks among others. So ang mga bagay na ito ay nakikita natin sa ating paligid dahil na rin sa patuloy na pagdami ng cases ng COVID-19 sa ating bansa. In the face of this continuing health threat, the Department of Education formulated the Basic Education Learning Continuity Plan to put into motion the marching orders of the Secretary. Ensure that learning continues while guaranteeing the health, safety, and well-being of all learners, teachers, and other DepEd employees. So nagpapakita lamang ito na ang Department of Education sa kabila ng sitwasyon ng pandemya ngayon ay nagpapatuloy pa rin upang maibigay ang nararapat at ang mandato ng saligang batas na maibigay ang kwalidad na edukasyon sa ating mga mag-aaral na isinasaalang-alang ang kaligtasan ng mga mag-aaral, ng mga guro at ng ibang kawani ng DepEd. The LCP, or the Learning Continuity Plan, recognizes that DepEd must adopt alternative modes of delivering learning if it is to reach all learners, regardless of who and where they are. Where school-based face-to-face learning is not possible, the LCP identifies 3 learning delivery modalities that schools may implement. These are the distant learning, the blended learning, and the homeschooling. So this slide shows us what are the 3 LDMs. A critical component of the LCP is enabling teachers and school leaders to use these learning delivery modalities effectively. Makikita natin ito mamaya sa Figure 1. LCP capacity building has 2 streams. The first stream is the LDM2, which is focused on the implementation and management of the alternative learning delivery system at all levels of the education system and intended for school and division leaders. So pinapakita po dito na yung LDM1 ay para po sa mga division leaders and sa mga school leaders. So ito po ay natapos na. Ngayon, this course na you are taking is what you call the LDM2. This is intended for the teachers and is focused on the instructional implications of using these alternative learning delivery modalities. What are now the course objectives? By the end of this course, you will be able to know the different learning delivery modalities and platforms, their features, uses, and pedagogies. Number 2, plan for the implementation of the school-adopted learning delivery modalities. And third, prepare learning materials and resources needed for the LDM. And the last, be confident in executing lessons in the new learning delivery modalities. So ito po ang kabuuan na kinakailangan nating ma-attain para sa kursong ito. This is a task-oriented course that combines guided study using self-learning modalities and co-learning and collaboration through the Learning Action Cell. So ito po ay nangangahulugan na ang kurso pong ito ay meron pong self-learning modules. Ibig sabihin, hindi po ito nangangahulugan ng tradisyonal na LAC session kung saan magkakaroon ng face-to-face interaction. Kasama po ng self-learning modules na ito ay ang co-learning and collaboration through Learning Action Cell. Since face-to-face meetings are not allowed or not permitted at present, you will be expected to hold your LAC sessions online. How to organize your LAC and run your LAC sessions will be discussed in Lesson 2. As you can see in Table 1, the course is divided into 2 parts. So this part and this part. Part 1 covers the LDM selection and implementation planning. It consists of 4 modules that will take about 20 hours to complete. Part 2 is the practicum component of the course covering LDM implementation throughout the school year. So if you can see here, the duration of our practicum is until December 2020. The modules in Part 1 are designed for self-study without a trainer or instructor to assist you. Each module consists of several lessons. Lessons are self-contained and include readings or video tutorials, activities, quizzes, and reflection points. We ask that you keep a study notebook or learning journal to jot down your answers to the activity questions and quizzes, and to record your ideas and reflections. At various points of this module, you will be prompted to convene a LAC session with your co-teachers to discuss a particular lesson and/or to collaborate on specific tasks. You will be given a LAC guide to help structure your LAC activities. Your LAC will also be assigned a coach from the division or district office. This coach is tasked to provide guidance and support to your school lab as you go through the course activities. So ang atin pong school lab coach ay ang atin pong PSDS, si Dr. Maria Belia A. Santos, at ang atin pong school head, Mr. Christopher M. Palacio. And our LAC leaders will be yours truly, Sir Dexter Pagkaliwagan and Ma'am Gina Moreno. What are the expected outputs? You are expected to generate outputs at various points in the course. This will constitute your course portfolio. So, ibig sabihin, gagawa po talaga tayo ng mga outputs at ito po ay maiipon bilang isang portfolio. For Part 1, you have the sample MELTS unpacking presentation, list of targeted learner interventions, learning tasks for the delivery learning or the DL, the assessment methods in the DL, weekly home learning plan for one subject, individual learning monitoring plan for a student who lags behind in completing the learning task, LAC 3 teacher engagement report, LAC 3 session report, and 2 accomplished LR rapid assessment tools with reflections, professional development plan, and for our Part 2, that is for our practicum, the daily lesson plans or the daily lesson logs, and the recordings of the class instruction. Course assessment and certification. Learners, that means you, our dear teachers, will receive your certificate of participation once you are able to submit your LDM implementation portfolios to your designated coaches. The portfolio will be evaluated by the coach who will recommend the issuance of the certificate to the NAIAP Central Office through the NAIAP Regional Office. Where feasible, the certificate will also indicate the professional development credit units earned in accordance with the DepEd Quality Assurance Division evaluation of the program. As this course is intended to advance your professional development, read Table 2 showing the Philippine Professional Standards for Teachers, where identified domains may help you advance in your practice. So ito po ang alignment ng ating module or ng ating course sa PPST standards. So if you can see, align pa rin siya sa ating domain 1 with strand 1, 2, 3, and 7, both for the beginning and proficient and for the highly proficient teachers. The same with our domain 2 for strand 1 and 2, domain 3 for strand 1 and 4, for domain 4, strand 1 and 5. For domain 5, for the assessment and reporting, it has strand 2, 3, and 4. For domain 6, for community linkages and professional engagement, it has strand 1, 2, and 4. For domain 7, it has strand 1, 2, and 4. Now, let us pause and answer the activity 1. Let us repeat. As we read the LDM course overview, reflect on the overview by answering the following questions. Write down your insights in your study notebook. This slide was presented to you before we discussed and talked about the LDM course overview. You are allowed to pause this video for you to process your answers now. For our activity 2, answer the following questions by copying and filling out the table in your study notebook. The first question, how will my personal characteristics and circumstances affect positively or negatively my participation in this course? And how can I ensure that I am able to sustain my strengths and address the obstacles that will hinder me from completing this course? So you may pause and answer. This is our table. So you have here the habits. What is it that I repeatedly do that may affect my participation in the course in a positive or negative way? The second is the obstacles. What will prevent you from participating fully in this course? The motivation. What will push you to participate in this course? And for the environment, where will you accomplish the requirements for this course? Describe this environment. You may go back to the previous slide if you wish to see the two questions. For our activity 3, look for a colleague with whom you would like to discuss your answers and reflections with the two questions in activities 1 and 2. You may pause this slide once again to talk to a colleague to whom you would like to share your answer. You may use any platform in an online modality that you wish. You may also screenshot your conversation regarding this conversation. Well done! You have completed lesson 1. You may now proceed to lesson 2. Welcome to our lesson 2 of the module 1. This talks about the organizing your learning action cell or your LAC. This lesson will help you set up your LAC and prepare for LAC activities in the succeeding modules. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to organize a LAC to support your learning, enumerate the roles and responsibilities of different LAC members, set protocols and norms for the conduct of LAC sessions, and accomplish the required LAC forms. What are the topics for lesson 2? You have LAC or the Learning Action Cell, LAC roles and responsibilities, the LAC forms, and what about the required resources? So you have to have the copy of the DepEd Order number 35 series of 2016 or the Learning Action Cell as K-12 Basic Education Program School-Based Continuing Professional Development Strategy for the improvement of teaching and learning. So this DepEd Order is already posted in our Google Classroom. You also have your LAC Session 1 guide, the Form 1, Form 2, and Form 3 and 4, and of course, your study notebook. Now, let us do activity 1. Begin by refreshing your memory on the Learning Action Cell. You're going to read the DepEd Order number 35, series of 2016, entitled The Learning Action Cell as the K-12 Basic Education Program School-Based Continuing Professional Development Strategy for the Improvement of Teaching and Learning. Once you're done, answer the following questions. Write your responses and any other ideas and reflections in your study notebook. You may pause the slide if you wish to read the DepEd Order number 35. Reflect on the objectives and for conducting the LAC sessions as listed in DO 35 Series 2016. You're going to rank the following objectives from easiest to the most difficult to achieve. So we have here 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 objectives, and you're going to rank them from easiest to the most difficult to achieve. For the second question, what are the top 3 challenges to having a successful LAC? List down and elaborate. Take note, you are going to look for the top 3 challenges. You may pause the slide if you want to reflect and answer this. Now, for our activity 2. According to DepEd Order 35 Series of 2016, a LAC should have no less than 2 but not more than 15 members each. Get in touch with your designated coach or your LAC leader in forming your LACs. First, you're going to agree on the date and time to meet and discuss forming your LACs. Follow LAC Session 1 guide for the conduct of your LAC. The second one, during this meeting, decide on your groupings and designate 1 LAC facilitator and 1 LAC leader per LAC. Note the following in forming your LACs. LACs should be composed of teachers. Discuss your preferred LAC composition with your assigned instructional coach. This will be, in this case, our district supervisor, Dr. Maria Belia Santos, and of course, our school head, Mr. Christopher M. Palacio. After forming your respective LACs, there should be a LAC leader assigned to you from among the following school members. It could be a master teacher, a head teacher, or other senior teachers who have proven competence, potential to lead, or subject expertise to lead the LAC. So in our case, our assigned LAC leader for our class 1 or our team 1 is our senior teacher, Ma'am Gina Moreno. And for our LAC leader for the team 2 is yours truly, your master teacher, Sir Dexter Pagkaliwagan. Teacher LACs can connect with our instructional coach through our LAC leader. This instructional coach will also be handling multiple LACs through a network of LAC leaders. So this is the composition and coaching arrangement of the LDM2 teachers. So if you can see here, the LDM2 for instructional coaches. So you have here the LAC instructional coach, our district supervisor, and our instructional leader, our school head. We'll have the LAC leader 1 and 2. For if there are 2 teams. If there are other teams, then there will be more LAC leaders. And each LAC leader will have each LAC members or the teachers to guide. So in our case, in our school, we only have 2 teams. That's why we have LAC leader 1 and LAC leader 2. So for our activity 3, you're going to list down the members of your LAC and their respective roles in your study notebook. Remember that the members of the LAC and the respective roles of each are listed in the DepEd order number 35. So we have there the LAC leader, the LAC facilitator, the LAC members, the LAC documenter, and the LAC resource person. After this, congratulations! You have completed Module 1 and you are now ready for Module 2. Thank you very much.